The ether. A fertile plane of existence, in which a master cultivator navigates an ocean of stars. With him, his apprentice, a young mage who will soon discover all is not as it seems, as he unveils the tales of the verse. After many days of dreary hunting, the party had become tired, and the lords had grown agitated. My lord, why do you so eagerly pursue after this specter? We've allowed nearly 3 prized bulls to escape us already. Why do we persist? Surely pursuing this legend is a fool's errand. I concur, Silas said suddenly. These children's stories are leading us nowhere. You've indulged this lad's imaginations long enough. It's about time that we begin hunting some real game, rather than these old wives' tales that you claim are so noble. Perhaps I should lead this hunt, while you and these boys go looking for dragons. The lords laughed bitterly, but the king remained unamused and undeterred. Lord Safani also displayed his impatience. Agreed. We're already leagues deep into the forest. Further than we've ever been. You've indulged the boys and your own fantasies long enough. Let us ride back and see if we can save this hunt from failure. Finally. A bit of luck. I suppose fortune smiles upon us. This bull is sure to... But before Lord Silas could finish his quip, the air grew still. The surrounding light seemed to dim, and the cry of the elk grew more haunting. Before the entire party, there appeared a large, black stag with sapphire marks. It leapt from the mouth of the grove and stood with a kingly presence before the entire assembly. All was silent. The lords stared in amazement and glanced at one another in disbelief. Kellek and Horus stood in respect and awe at the creature before them, while the king seemed more focused than ever. It cannot. Silas, despite being in awe of the moment, gathered his wits, climbed upon his horse with the other lords, and declared, It is! Come! Let us give chase! The prize is at hand. Silas and the other lords charged after the martyr, deeper into the woods. Yet as they rode off, Horus noticed Lord Cassius whisper suddenly to 2 of the guards, who then proceeded to follow them into the woods.
I go on. Keep the boys safe, and wait here for my return.
Nearly an hour had passed. Horus, feeling that it had been too long, but still remembering the king's request, decided to investigate what had happened. Come on, Kellek. It's been long enough. Let's see if they are in need of our help. The two then made their way through the trees in the direction of the hunting party. Before too long, they could hear voices, and Horus, feeling apprehensive at their tone, shushed his young companion, and the two crept closer. A simple incantation from Horus helped to conceal them and the noise they may have made from the individuals ahead of them. Taking him was easier than taking the stag, and quick thinking on an ambush, Silas. He rode right into our trap. One arrow from Cassius' quiver, and he went down like a spring fawn. Sophani was almost giddy as he spoke these words. The throne is nearly in our hands. My hands, you mean, Silas corrected. We agreed it would be I who took the ruling seat, he said as he adjusted the stolen crown on his head. We spoke of the possibility, but nothing was set in stone, Cassius retorted. Besides, it was my arrow and cold nerves that brought him down. The kingdom deserves a protector who won't hesitate to act with courage. Bonji approached the others as they argued, struggling to pull the king's sword from its scabbard. Why can't I draw this blade? He complained. There must be a clasp, you fool. Silas reached for the sword as he chastised his companion. Give it here. I'll unsheathe this blade, and once I do, I will be king. He took the weapon from Bonje, but still could not remove it from its sheath. Blasted old. This has to be some kind of craftsman trick. You must be weaker than you believe, Silas, Cassius quipped. I will do what you cannot. Again, as Cassius tried to unsheath the sword, it would not move. It must be wedged in. One by one, each lord tried to unsheath the sword, the guards watching from afar. But no matter how hard they tried, none of the men could reveal the blade. Curse this blade! Silas screamed, throwing it to the ground. No matter. We will take the sword and be done with our business here in the woods. And what of the boy? Cassius questioned. The mage watches over him. It will be no easy feat in slaying a magic wielder. We best have our wits about us, otherwise he may turn us to stone, or worse. Or some kind of toad, Bonje added. You fools! The worst thing that could happen is they could get away. Then our entire plan would be thwarted. And I am not prepared to let some whelp take the throne. As Silas said this, Horus felt to leave with Kellek before it would grow too late. But before Horus turned to Kellek, he noticed a dark mist beginning to erupt from an opening between the trees. A strange hum filled the air, and all creatures nearby fell silent. What sorcery is this? Safani announced. All lords turned toward the opening of trees, drawing their swords in defense. It must be the mage. He's discovered us, Silas hissed. Yet, as the lords and soldiers readied for Horus to come out, they quickly gave into despair as they saw the great horror before them arise. What was at first a dark silhouette slowly took shape as a frightening, tall, black warrior. His helm was crowned with long, sharp spikes, while his gauntlets were like bones of iron, and his body seemed to be wrapped in a shadowy cloak, as if it were thick smoke. Perhaps the most haunting of all was the large, ghostly blade flickering a sickly green which he held in his right hand. Immediately, Horus recognized the specter before them, recalling the description of the Black Knight from Altan's dream. Who are you? What is your business here, conjurer? The long silence enveloped them all in fear. Waiting for the dark figure to speak, the lords and guards became more and more fearful. Then suddenly, the strange warrior spoke.
We have unfinished business.
Your conjuring tricks will not fool us, Horus the mage, Silas retorted frightfully. Kellek, looking toward Horus for answers, received a bewildered shrug, for even he did not know the meaning of this.
Oh, you wicked lords, you shall reap the fate that you have sown.
As the phantom before them said this, he raised his left hand, revealing the bloodied arrow that Cassius had shot. Without warning, Silas screamed out and lunged. Die, you demon! Before he breathed out his final threat, a wave of green light flashed in the air, and as the light subsided, it revealed Silas had been hewn into two, causing the crown to fall to the earth. His companions, shocked by the sheer speed of the warrior, rushed forward in panic to strike him down. But alas, it was in vain. For as each lord and guard swung their blades, a flash of green accompanied each of their deaths. In a matter of seconds, the ground was laid with bloodied corpses, as a small river of blood from the bodies collected and flowed down the gentle slope of the hill. It trickled over the now bloodied crown. Kellek watched in horror as the scene unfolded, and without hesitation jumped into the clearing to reach the crown. Kellek, don't! Horus rushing to follow him, ready to spell, though fearing it would do little against the monstrous fiend before them. Kellek approached the crown, kneeling before it, as if it were the king himself. Surprisingly, the warrior did nothing as Kellek came forward, simply eyeing the boy as he knelt down. Tears began to build in Kellek's eyes as he picked up the crown, staring horrified at the blood that stained it.
Why do you weep, young lad? Your master has not abandoned you.
The warrior's voice commanded the surrounding area, with a deep luster, but carried a gentle cadence, sounding strangely familiar.
I failed,
Kellek cried.
I should have been here to protect the king. It was not knightly to let him go alone.
The warrior, hearing this, stooped down, kneeling in front of Kellek.
If you had, you truly would have failed your king, and would be dead as well.
Unexpectedly, the warrior took the crown from Kellek's hands, and using his cloak, wiped away all traces of blood. Though defensive, Horus began to feel a sense of peace beginning to wash over him. Standing not far behind Kellek, he remembered the words of his master. You will know what to do when the time comes.
There, it shines like new.
As Miron said this, Kellek stared at him in wonder, and the warrior placed the crown upon the boy's head. The warrior placed a hand on Kellek's shoulder and added,
I'm afraid your king has a great deal more to ask of you.
As the warrior said this, Kellek stared at him in wonder, and the warrior placed the crown upon the boy's head. The warrior placed a hand on Kellek's shoulder and added,
You must now take your place as king, just as I once did.
Kellek's eyes widened in amazement, realizing who truly stood before him. Looking toward Horus, the warrior said in gentle command,
Bring the king's sword.
Picking up the sword, Horus examined the hilt and saw the trident-like symbol upon it that Altan had mentioned. It glowed brightly in the dim light. The symbol of the sword glowed simultaneously and the same color as the ghostly blade of the warrior. Horus then realized the connection, bringing forth the king's sword. As he presented the sword to the warrior, he couldn't help but ask, How is it you live after being slain? Horus inquired.
By the power of the binding, I cannot pass, until I have chosen the new king. Then shall he be bound to the sword and to the throne.
Handing him the sword, Horus stepped back, as the warrior stood before Kellek. In a soft but mighty voice, King Miron said,
Kellek, Black Iron, son of Johannes, I, King Miron, surrender my blade unto you.
As King Miron said this, he presented the weapon hilt first to the young man, then continued.
In taking this sword, you will act as protector, guardian, keeper of the throne, and the watchful eye of all the realm. Neither shall you perish until this sword shall pass to another.
The sword glowed a magnificent red and gold, causing the symbol to shine even more brightly.
Do you take this oath upon you, and swear to sacrifice all that you have and are, until your days are fulfilled?
Kellek, reaching for the hilt, hesitated, feeling inadequate. But Horus, sympathizing with Kellek's noticeable reluctance, placed his hand on his shoulder. The king then urged in a soft voice,
You are worthy, my son. Do not doubt.
Finding his resolve, Kellek reached for the hilt and said with newfound confidence,
I will.
The symbol in an instant appeared on the palm of his hand, stinging only for a moment. But as Kellek took the hilt, the king looked to Horus to finish the oath. At that moment, Horus knew his time had come. Waving his hands, blue energy spiraled around his wrists and arms, and the magic sealed the binding. The king, finally shedding the dark form, appeared as himself and took a step back.
It is done.
Then he declared,
Hail to the king.
It was at this moment Kellek realized this would be the last time he would see his dear friend and mentor. He couldn't help but embrace him one last time. And with this, the king, holding on to Kellek, faded from their presence. Altan stood at the gate and looked for the return of the hunting party. Tears flooded his eyes when he saw only two figures approaching. Rushing to the gate, Altan met Horus and Kellek as they entered. The people looked on in confusion, and not seeing the rest of the hunting party. "Where are the others? Where's my king?" Altan said with pronounced worry. Kellek, looking toward Horus for guidance, knew not what to say. But as Horus nodded in reassurance, Kellek timidly raised his hand and opened his palm to the crowd, revealing the symbol of the king. Everyone in the crowd gasped in surprise, recognizing the significance of the mark. "My king!" Altan exclaimed, as he and all the subjects bowed themselves before their new ruler.